Pinterest just reported earnings, and if you've noticed, the stock price is up significantly. If you're watching this video, there's a good chance you're trying to figure out, were the results really good? And is Pinterest starting to turn the corner? Or is management just wallpapering over bad results that beat expectations? I'm Jason Hall. This is The Smattering, joined by Jeff Santoro, and we're going to take a dive into Pinterest's latest earnings. How's it going, Jeff?
It's good. I'm curious about this one. I read the results, then saw the market reaction, and the two didn't line up. So I want to kind of talk through it.
Yeah, is this better or less worse? We're going to get into that. But before we do, a little bit of housekeeping. First of all, if you like our videos, if you're enjoying what we're doing, please click that subscribe button. It helps us. We really appreciate that. And second, I want to give a hat tip and a thanks to our sponsor, The Motley Fool. We get to make these videos because of The Fool. If you're looking for great stock ideas, go to our link, fool.com/The Smattering. Put in some information, and The Fool is going to give you their 10 best stocks to buy right now. Thanks for that. All right, Jeff, I'm going to share the screen here, and let's talk briefly about the numbers. So there was some good. We'll start with the good, right? And one thing that was good, at least against expectations, is that revenue does continue to grow. You look at the cadence here going back to last year, which was a great year and a tough comp, and revenue is still growing in the high single digits, right? That's okay. You got, as a Pinterest shareholder, you got to be okay with that, right?
Yeah, I mean, the tough comp is what jumps out to me. You know, coming off of 43% year-over-year revenue growth from a year ago, to have 8% on top of that, you know, makes it a little bit better than it may look. You know, and I'm always interested in that rest of the world number. I know that's a very small part of the business right now, but you know, that's pretty healthy growth. And if they can ever get some traction there and make that part of their revenue pie grow a little bit bigger, you know, that's only a good thing for the business.
Yeah, let's talk about why revenue is growing, and it's ARPU, ARPU, average revenue per user. And we continue to see steps in the right direction here. 11% growth on a global basis. The most important business today, clearly the US and Canada. You see those numbers, you know, we're talking, you know, substantially more important in terms of dollar value per user than any other market, right? Up 15%. And then the rest of the world, which excludes the US and Canada and excludes Europe. So most of the developing markets that it's looking to expand in, again, that moved up substantially, but it's still just a tiny, tiny part of the business. Jeff, this is an ad business, right? So you want to explain why this number is so important?
Well, this number is important because right now they are an ad business. And, you know, considering the results we've seen from other companies this quarter with ad revenues declining, any kind of increase is a good thing for Pinterest, even if it's nothing that's going to knock your socks off. The company is trying to pivot a little bit away from massive user growth and into a better plan for monetizing those users. So they're going to have advertising and probably always will, but they're also trying to make the site more shoppable. They're trying to have users come to Pinterest for inspiration. And then if they see something they like, be able to very easily, with very little friction, click and buy that thing right there. And then obviously Pinterest would take a take rate off of that transaction. That's still in its infancy. It's part of the reason that the founder stepped down and brought in the new CEO, Bill Ready, who has a background in e-commerce. So moving forward, it'll be interesting to watch how that might affect ARPU. But right now, those average revenue per user metrics are based entirely on advertising.
They are. And I just want to give kind of a comparison, talking about the fact that they are so good in this environment. We just saw Facebook and Instagram's parent company, Meta, just reported earnings, and average revenue per user has fallen for 3 straight quarters. And Pinterest continues to grow that number. So that says a lot, thinking about the state of the ad market right now, the state of the economy. The marketers continue to look favorably on the value of this as an ad platform. So for now, that's really important. But it is, you mentioned the plan with its new CEO to really focus on e-commerce and kind of creating more of a hybrid business. And I think that's important because now I'm going to share on the screen here, because the one thing that has been a real challenge for Pinterest over the past, really more than a year at this point, is engagement, right? We're coming off of a period of 3 quarters where monthly active users actually declined on a global basis and finally got back to a steady point. But as you can see on the chart there, it still declined 2% again, in its most important market. So do you think this is a major focus, that engagement's a major focus that's also part of that e-commerce focus going forward?
Yeah, I think it has to be. I mean, they don't need to be posting 40, 50% user growth like maybe they did during the pandemic to be successful, especially if they can continue to monetize, but it can't stay flat. It can't decrease. And, you know, one of the quotes I remember the CEO giving in a previous earnings call was, you know, people used to come to the internet to buy the thing they wanted at the best price they could find it. Now they come to the internet to decide what to buy. So if they can be a destination for shoppers who are, you know, it's akin to window shopping, right? If they can bring window shoppers into Pinterest, that could not only drive average revenue per user, but could also bring those monthly average user numbers back up.
Well, it's something I've been saying for a couple of years now, and something you and I've talked about is Pinterest, of the social media platforms, seems to be the one that's most already built to be perfect for that transactional sort of relationship, because people are coming to it to look for ideas for things that they either want to make or they want to buy. In either case, they're already primed to spend money. And that's really, really valuable if you can turn that from just targeted ads to having an embedded e-commerce relationship right there as part of the platform.
Yeah, and they also still operate in a niche of social media, right? They're kind of unique. There's not another platform out there that offers what Pinterest does. So if they can find a way to, you know, make that niche more profitable and more appealing to a new set of members or a new set of users, then they should continue to be successful.
Well, you mentioned something I'm sharing the last slide we're going to go over here. You mentioned being more profitable, and we do know that that's not happening with Pinterest right now. Expenses are going up, costs are coming up, and it's actually becoming a little bit less profitable. You want to talk through this a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, you know, you and I were saying earlier, you want these numbers, you want growth in these areas. There's not a business around that doesn't typically grow its, you know, R&D spend and its sales and marketing spend year over year. The problem is you can't be growing these expenses 20 to 40% a year while your revenue is only growing in the mid to high single digits, right? At some point that becomes, you know, you can't continue that way forever. So, you know, they're going to have to
particularly a focus right now for a company that's still unprofitable, that's trying to grow into profitability and trying to get to the point where it's consistently generating, you know, positive free cash flow. But I guess the key is at this point, like you said, they're actively making a decision. If there's a time when your growth is slowing, if there's a time that you're making a transition, you want to offer more, you've got to spend on R&D. You have to have a great product and a great experience. And you need to focus on customer acquisition as they are with their sales and marketing expense, right?
Right, exactly. And, you know, so this might be the time they have to make that spend. I think it's just worth remembering that the only time they've really ever been profitable or cash flow positive is during the pandemic, when they saw an incredible amount of growth because people were stuck at home. So that may have got investors thinking that they were ready to be a profitable company when maybe they weren't. But eventually you do need to see those metrics turn around. It's just a matter of how long investors will have to wait.
Last question, Jeff. I'm a Pinterest shareholder. I believe you're also a Pinterest shareholder. Looking at the stock today, you have money to invest, whether you own it or not. You're looking at it and you're thinking about it. Is Pinterest more viable right now in your view, or are we still kind of in a wait and see moment, or do you have concerns that they're not going to be able to pull off this pivot?
I still have concerns they're not going to be able to pull off the pivot. I'm holding my shares. I'm not selling them. I want to see, and I was looking for it before we started recording, I want to see some evidence that their plan to make the site more shoppable is gaining some ground, right? So whether it's actual numbers that they report or management commentary that starts to convince me that people are clicking within the app to purchase things, when I see some evidence that that is heading in the right direction, I might be ready to buy some more shares. Right now, I'm on a wait and hold pattern.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. That's the best way to look at it right now. They're about to be spending more money to try to develop this thing that they haven't shown that they can do. Exactly what you said. Let's give them some time to earn any more capital and prove that they can do it.